Delay starting in 15 seconds. 10 seconds. Greetings, and thank you for joining us on the Pixel Crashers podcast. A podcast where we sometimes talk about gaming news, and sometimes we start on time. I'm joined here with Xaiphen,
Yay!
Deathshroud09.
So,
I'm Kev the Gamer, and our normal host, Angelus de Mortiel, is not here today, which is why we're starting a little bit late. We weren't expecting him not to be here, and I kind of ghetto-rigged this together at the last second. Look, literally at, the last second. So, let's get started with games we've been playing. If we've been playing any games, any good games. Games are always fun.
I actually have, guys. I've been playing video games.
Liar.
Goodness.
What games?
No, I started playing Darkest Dungeon.
Huh.
What's going on?
Hello? What's going on?
Yeah. Me? Games? Oh, yeah. You know what I've been playing. It's the same two games I've been playing for the past several months. I keep trying to get into another game. I take that back. I did start on the alpha of Keystone. I went through like one round of that and still need some more time to adjust to it because that one has no tutorial, no low level, low entry level or anything like that. It just throws you right into mixed skill match. First person shooter, third person shooter. I can't remember which, but yeah, it has a little bit of a steep entry level learning curve with just throwing you right into that. Other than that, yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda. Kev, Mort, and I had some fun with that last night where we got our asses handed to us, almost pulled it off, and then I dropped the ball. Well, actually, I didn't drop the ball. That was the problem, is I did not drop into extraction about a half a second too slow.
Well, in fairness, that's kind of on the four of us, and I was clutching.
True.
I clutched a couple times.
Well, when it came to the finish line, extraction, I was the closest to it. I, disabled 4 to 5, boosted my speed, and I was in midair when that timer zeroed out above extraction, but I did not touch the ground, so it didn't count it.
Yeah, exactly. And we were all pretty close on this weekend's event. Because I think I was the next one in line. I was about 5 seconds out, and then I know Mort and I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, they were a couple seconds behind us too. Violet, yeah.
The guy that lurks around.
Yeah, Violet. Yeah, yeah, Violet was a couple seconds behind us.
The other game I've been playing regularly, Warframe, I hit my 400-day login reward, and that was kind of cool. Not as exciting as I thought it would be because, well, I just didn't feel like playing Warframe at all yesterday, so I didn't really bother with it that much.
Shouldn't that be a normal thing, though?
Again, maxed it out because I'm a resource hog. I'm a hoarder in that game. And then I shut the game down and went over to Andromeda.
Travis, continue about the games.
Yeah, I've been playing Darkest Dungeon because I'm a masochist.
Darkest Dungeon is actually really cool, though. I haven't tried it a little bit, and I couldn't really I couldn't get super deep into it, but what I did do was actually really cool.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get heavy into it like other people do, but it's been a nice experience. It's kind of interesting. I feel like it's a very focused game, which I can appreciate. It might not be a focus that completely appeals to me. I tend to like games that are a bit more expansive, and I'm not saying open world. I'm saying a large breadth of content, but a nice focused genre like that is something I can definitely appreciate, at least.
See, I think, and it's funny you mentioned open worlds and a lot of content. Open world games now, it feels like they don't have a lot of content anymore. It seems it's more like they have this huge world, the same amount of missions, and usually you're just going from mission to mission. You spend most of the time exploring the open world to the next mission point.
Well, we've all seen the Matrix, right?
No.
Yeah.
Oh wait, what? What the fuck is wrong with you, Kev? Come on.
I know,
Exactly.
I know, right?
It's like,
I'm not. We talked about this before. I'm not a big movie guy.
That's an 18-year-old movie, man. 18 years old.
I'm not a big movie guy. I don't have the patience for it.
Let me go with this. You understand the concept behind the Matrix? You know, the whole virtual world thing, like the entire world.
Reality versus what they want you to believe is what I understand.
Yeah, but there's the people who've been extracted from the Matrix that are not living in it, but go there to do awesome looking kung fu. That's pretty much it. Okay. Really. But at any rate, they have a loading screen. Well, a lot of these open world games are like this loading screen. It has a vast openness to it, but there's no material content. It's just okay, it looks beautiful. You can look around, you can go around everywhere, but when you really dig into the depths and corners of it, there's just no substance there. It's bland. That's the thing. Okay, early open world game, not so beautiful, but still large world. Morrowind. You get into the nooks and crannies of things, you discover some really weird, crazy shit. And they're not even really truly Easter eggs. Just because of the nature of the way they built this game, there is no real Easter eggs of it. But there's lots of hidden gems in there. It's not stuff that, programmers hide. It was actual writers that were just what kind of corner in the random weird ass crack corner of the world can we shove this cool ass short story into? You open a book and some of the stories in the books were just fucking awesome. And you got modern open world, they just don't have that substance to them.
Even Oblivion had that, right? Even up to Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion was kind of the dying end of that in the Elder Scrolls series. Skyrim pretty much lost. Granted, I have not played through Oblivion or even started on Skyrim. Just listen to other people talk about it, played through the rest of the series, or at least back to Morrowind. Skyrim, beautiful, big, beautiful, ginormous world, and they have this, you got 400 hours claim to it, but the substance to it, it just seems so bland from what I hear from it.
Now, what's funny, two things. I saw an amazing mod last night for Morrowind, where it looked really bad when they did the originally compared it. It looked like a late PS2, early 360 game, which for Morrowind, considering what I think was on the original Xbox, wasn't it?
Yes, it was in the original Xbox.
Yeah, so I mean that's a huge jump, because it did look like a really nice late PS2 game. It had some really nice textures in there. There was a lot of detail.
It came out before the Xbox.
You what?
PS2 came out before the Xbox.
That's what I'm saying. The later half of the PS2, the first half of the Xbox 360, first portion.
I've always wanted a Morrowind remake, because I haven't played it myself, and I'm not entirely sure.
When you start getting into mods on that, people have got especially taking from Morrowind and Oblivion, because there's Oblivion or whatever they call these, where they more or less mash up the worlds, and they put it in modern day resolutions and all that stuff. So I keep meaning to get around to it, but I burnt myself out on the massive depths of Morrowind, and I didn't even touch as much of it as Mort did. And I burnt myself out on it to the point of which Elder Scrolls.
Actually, it's funny because
of getting sucked back into that until the point I start up the game and it puts me to sleep. And it's not that it's boring; it's just after doing everything you can do in that game.
Now, what's interesting about that too is I've been playing ESO. I've been playing Andromeda, and I didn't like Skyrim. That's the only other Elder Scrolls I played. I played ESO and Skyrim. I didn't like Skyrim. So for me to love ESO and to see how much open world is in there, and Morrowind looks amazing in that game, from what I've seen. I haven't gone to Morrowind yet, but it looks amazing from what I've seen in videos and stuff. They did a really, really good job on that game, I think.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And that's what, the awesomeness you get on the free reign of the modern world. When you get people this in depth into it, not I'm not talking about the modders the modding that Bethesda is trying to capitalize on, which is it's going to end up really hurting modding community. I can just see it just screwing shit over with that really badly.
Oh yeah, because paid mods are back.
Yeah.
But Bethesda's not calling them paid mods. They call it the Creators Club.
About it, but I don't know exactly what they're trying again. Is it just the same thing they were doing
before? No, before what they were doing is they were taking the mods that were put into the Steam Workshop and allowing modders to put a price tag on it and you just buy it through Steam. Now what they're doing is instead of taking existing mods like they did the first time, they're having the modders as they get created put into their Bethesda launcher, like what they added for Fallout 4 and Skyrim Remaster, and you can buy these mods with credits that you buy from Bethesda.
But there's not going to... Is that going to remove the free modding community? Is that what they're trying to do?
No, it's not going to remove the free modding community.
Just an option.
But it's an option. But it's making it so that way, I guess these modders are going to work with Bethesda as well to develop these mods. And what a lot of people's concerns are now is that if people can only get paid for these mods and there's a good way to monetize, and a lot of these modders want to do this full-time anyway, are we going to lose that on free mods by default? Is it going to be, now we're only going to the Creation Club? And then think about what's this going to do for mods, say, for other games. I mean, look at what they did recently with GTA 5, where Open4, they were the ones that they made a platform for modders for GTA 5 recently, and Take-Two went and shut it down, the publisher for GTA 5, or for GTA in general. And they sent them with a cease and desist. I guess now they're in talks of bringing it back. They put out a statement late yesterday saying that, well, you know what, we'll let you go ahead and do your mods only in single player. You do multiplayer, we're coming after that ass, and don't do any, don't sell them, and don't do any third-party shit. Don't get us sued. Fair enough. And so I think they're going to get back into the works. I think they're just working with Open4 because some of their mods can be used in GTA Online. I think they want to iron that shit out. But it's a good start.
It's like, I don't even look at it entirely as the free aspect of things. Like, are we going to lose out on our free mods? What the thing is like the people who put up open source software, like I like to call it donationware, because it has some of the best benefits of it. Is you got people, they want to make money off of it, and they can make money off of it, but it's a lot like that, and there's good and bad side to this, because you got people's like, I just want shit for free and I refuse to pay for it. And you will have those people out there no matter what. And it's not like, okay, if you can only buy it and there's no other way, option to get a hold of it other than buying it, well, they're not going to be forced to buy it. They're just going to go somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
With those people with that kind of mentality. But you look at, like, say, in the food service industry, table servers. Now, granted, there are downsides to this because you have to deal with those people that just refuse to pay whatsoever. But in general, like, you're working, your level of income is based on your quality of work. So you put out good quality mods instead of just putting a price tag on there and saying, well, if you want to use it, you have to pay this. You go with, hey, if you like it, pick an amount to donate. And if you come across the mods like, damn, this mod is so good, it may as well be the price of a game, you got people out there that will donate $60 to a mod just because it has full game quality behind it.
Mm-hmm. Right, totally.
That's a thing to think about, and I see an inherent value in that kind of a system. It's these modders can definitely make more money off of it if it has a regular fixed pricing system on there as opposed to donate what you want. But, I also can see that's going to make these modders cushy and lazy and complacent. Not all of them, but some of them. They're just going to, put up less quality mods because now they got, so to speak, a steady paycheck out of it.
Right. And that's totally true as well. Travis, any input?
I think I've already talked myself to death on the paid mods thing. I think it, yeah.
I like that Bethesda's trying to find a way to monetize it for the modders. I think that's great, but
they're also trying to monetize it for themselves too. Don't.
Oh yeah, no. That's what I was about to say.
That one.
That's why I said but. That's no different than what Valve was doing. Actually, it might be worse because I think Valve was taking 75% of the cut when they tried it a few years ago, Or it was some ridiculous number like that.
They're gonna, of course they're going to spend good PR on it. It's like, oh, these modders are doing good work. They need to get paid for it. Like, well, no, they're really looking for a paycheck for themselves, but to make it work and for good PR, they're going to say, oh, yeah, the modders are getting paid too.
Pure facts. So, next thing on the agenda, I want to talk about this Sony crossplay. Or how they said no. I've been wanting to shit on Sony for about a week for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset about that for multiple reasons.
So for those
that talk about the specific game.
So for those of you that don't know, during the Xbox conference, of course, Microsoft bought the rights to Minecraft a couple years ago. They said they're opening the floodgates. All platforms are going to be able to play together crossplay. So mobile, Switch, Xbox, PC, all can play together. Nintendo's even on board with this, which is very un-Nintendo of them. I like it. I like the move. But Sony came out and said, we're not doing it for the kids. Like, we want to protect the children in Minecraft from bad people online. Now, I'm sorry, you can't protect people on PSN from anything.
No.
And parents have to be responsible. I have an 8-year-old that plays Minecraft. He plays it constantly. You know what I do? No headset. He can't send messages on Xbox One. Done. No problems. There's also an option there, if on the Xbox One at least, I'm not sure about the other consoles, I haven't looked on the PS4. If you want to, you can go into the options and actually set it to, I can only talk to friends. So I can only talk to friends, receive messages from friends, things like that. Like, they have to know them. And there's an option
is Minecraft available on PlayStation at all?
Yes.
Or is it just not,
it's on the 3 and the
crossplay? So they're saying, like, only the crossplay is going to be a problem for kids. Bullshit.
Yeah. That's exact bullshit. And even then, it's like okay.
You've got a griefing community in any system, whether it's Nintendo or any given console, PC, Macintosh, whatever. There is going to be, bad community on there for children to deal with. It does, on in almost any kind of game except for a game that is so exclusively designed for kids, like little kids, that you're not going to find older, kids and immature adults on there to deal with that kind of crap. Right. But yeah, their excuse that the problem is only with crossplay, that's BS. Straight up.
Yeah, they're saying that they can't control the people who are on the other networks. Well, what you do is, since you're all working together, if somebody gives you a problem, they're an Xbox player, you report them through Sony, say, hey, this Xbox gamer tag is fucking with me. They send it to Microsoft and have Microsoft deal with it. You can't deal with people like that. Like, that's a perfect way around it. So when Sony
Microsoft
says... And Microsoft, I think, is the most flexible they've ever been. They're being super flexible right now.
They're flexible with other companies, but they are not flexible with that ban hammer if people are being idiots.
Oh, yeah. No, not at all. Microsoft will ban that ass
the ban hammer. So, Sony passing it off to Microsoft saying Microsoft can't handle their crap. Microsoft handles their crap. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, you'll deal with the bad people no matter what, and they'll find ways to get back on here, but Microsoft does not spare the ban hammer.
Mm-hmm. And then you think about that also, what about Nintendo? The console that has been said to be just for kids for the last 20 years. Actually, it's the last 30 years. Because you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, people were, video games are just for kids. Yeah. And then as, gamers matured, PlayStation became
back when we were kids.
Yeah. That's it. We were kids. Travis wasn't born yet. We were kids.
You know what?
Travis.
So, when you think about it like that, then as we became adults, we started playing PlayStation. And Xbox came along, we started playing Xbox. We started playing PCs, But Nintendo kept just targeting that same core audience. So most of Nintendo's audience are either adults who appreciate those games, or my PS4's in the shot, nice. Or they're adults who grew up on Nintendo, or kids. So and when you look,
the only console I have is a Wii, and pretty much the only person plays that is my 6-year-old, which I think she's playing that right now, actually, as we speak.
Yeah, see, I have consoles. I have my PS4, and I have my sole PS4 right here. I have the Slim, And then I have the Xbox One original and the PS4 original in the living room for my kids, and they play off those and a Wii. It's fine. They don't have any problems. My eldest might be a little easier. He's middle school age, so it's not a big deal. He plays online. He'll use a headset sometimes if he feels like it. If his friends from school are on, it's not a big deal. But it's mostly about parenting and parents. You can't parent the game. It's not the game company's responsibility to parent the children. That's the parent's job.
No, it isn't.
And I think that's what Sony's trying to do. I also think they're trying to keep their walled garden protected. We've talked about this before. The Apple-esque attitude. Right mm-hmm. But it's interesting because Final Fantasy 14 crossplay with PC. Street Fighter crossplay with PC. Rocket League is another game. Everyone has the same crossplay like we were talking about with Minecraft, except PlayStation. But on PlayStation you can still play with PC. Well, on Rocket League, you can't do that with Minecraft. Minecraft is on PlayStation, only going to be PlayStation. So, when I see that, I think Sony they're looking at these other consoles as competition, but people have preferences, and you're not necessarily going to swing their preference.
At the moment, at this time, their exclusives are holding them up. And that's like, as time goes on, that is going to, there's certain people like, for a while it's like, oh, I like the feel of the Sony controllers better, or I like the, nobody says they like their operating system. I like the...
Actually, I know a lot of people who love the PS4 operating system.
Like when it was when it was first Xbox One versus PS4, it's like, the PS4 looks, the games look a little bit prettier. As time goes on, it's going to be more of like, well, it's only their exclusives. That's the only reason I have a PS4.
I think that's how a lot of people are. We've talked about this on the show too, and I think especially with this week with the announcement of the Xbox One X, which I really want to get into later. It's a lot of how do you sell consoles to a non-technical audience? That's the argument I keep making. If the only difference between Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo are their game libraries, because most people aren't technical. Like, hell, you and I work in IT. You know people don't quite understand tech all the time.
Oh yeah.
So
and I deal with more people that don't understand it. So I'm used to trying to, simplify it.
Right, exactly. So you have the people that don't understand, and you have the people that just don't want to know. They just want to play games, and that's who consoles are for. The people who don't want to learn the tech, they don't care about the tech. They just want to play the games. They just want to turn it on and it goes. Those kinds of people, the only way you're going to sell them on a different console is exclusive.
I just read a forum post. Somebody complained about the complexity of PC. Now, their example of the complexity of PC was exclusively the control interface, the keyboard versus the controller. It's like, oh, there's so many buttons on the keyboard, and
it's muscle memory.
Sadly, it went with tens of responses went by before somebody finally piped up with, you can use controller on PC too. You can make PC simple. Mm-hmm. And you can make PC simple without actually having to make it simple yourself. Mm-hmm. You can have somebody else do that for you. You can buy it from the store like that. Alienware Alpha is as simple as it gets.
It's like, you can get one for like $400.
That is a PC grade or a console grade PC right there, straight out. That's what it is. It's as simple as you can get it, other than going with an Apple.
And a lot of people actually go with Macs too, because they say, like, I deal with this a lot at work. People say I bought a Mac because PCs are too complicated, and I'm like, I have a PC because because I like the feature set. That's a big part of why I like PCs over consoles. It has nothing to do with the power of the PC, like the hardware. The hardware is whatever. I like the flexibility.
I like the flexibility, but I do like complicated, because I like to think, be challenged with a situation where I have to think my way through the problem. Granted, I can play games for that same sort of thing too, but just creating a Steam controller layout for a game that was so reliant on the full keyboard.
Right, like
That's
trying
a
to play
fun
something like
challenge to
Dota.
me, where you get an MMO that gives you, like, makes use of 126 keys, more keys than you have on the keyboard. I like trying to make that work in a controller, but that's me. I like the complicated challenge of that. But not everybody does.
You're the kind of guy that plays Kerbal Space Program, where me, I'm like, nah, this game is more complicated than I want to play. Give me a shooter.
I think it's actually on my wish list, but I haven't got it yet.
See, exactly, and I'm the kind of guy that's like, give me a first-person shooter. Give me an action game.
I like those too. I like the simplicity sometimes, and there's some games I end up like just starting out the game. I spend more time on screwing around with the controls than actually playing the game.
I think there's some people like that. They like the technical side of it, and I'm the guy that just give me the games. I just want to play the game. I want to play the game, and I like that. I can go back to old games, and I have a bunch of consoles laying around. Like I think if the consoles would have.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of technical, if you're ready to move on to discussing the Xbox One X or XOX, I won't put people to sleep, but I'm going to get a little bit more technical on why it's not as awesome as people think it is.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I want to make sure Travis doesn't have any thoughts on here either. He's sitting patiently.
He's still here.
No, I'm just getting caught up on a couple more games from E3. So
okay.
If you guys want to talk about games after the Xbox One X, then that's cool. I'm down for that.
Okay. So Xbox One X, it's a thing now. The most powerful console ever built. It's going to give you 4K, 30 frames a second on a lot of games. 4K upscaled on a lot of games. Make use of HDR. I don't think it's necessarily a bad console. I think it's a really powerful console. But I think the comparison to PC is off. The comparison to PC is fairly lower in mid-range. We're talking like a $600 PC.
It's actually very off. Because the problem with people's comparison to PC is they're trying to compare one component to one processing feature of the Xbox One X.
You know about the GPU.
Processing. Yeah, its graphics processing is comparable to, I believe it's currently priced as a $250 GPU.
Right, it's right on par with like a 480.
But the problem is to get that potential out of that GPU on your PC, you need desktop hardware. A desktop grade CPU and all the cooling and power that goes with it. The memory for a CPU running that CPU is running on. And what you're getting out of the Xbox instead is you're getting a laptop grade CPU. And not only that, but a low power laptop grade CPU, because it's lower power than some laptop CPUs are. And also on top of that, it has to share the memory with the GPU, which the GPU uses graphics memory instead of CPU memory. There's a difference between the two. CPU memory, you want lower latency so it responds faster, whereas GPU memory, you want it to be able to handle more massive amounts of information going through it. The bandwidth of it, you want to be higher. Well, it's got the high bandwidth, but its latency is crap. So the graphics processing works great, but the CPU suffers. CPU end on that suffers a lot, and that will make a huge hit to a lot of gaming performance or general system performance compared to when you're trying to compare it to a desktop PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was technical. Didn't put people too much with that.
I think you're right. I agree with what you said. The problem is, and this goes back to non-technical people, because somebody like with your knowledge is more likely, I think, to swing towards the PC anyway, because you have the knowledge, you know how to work it, and you already know the benefits.
To sum it up in one sentence. If you want the console package, everything pre-built for a $500 price, you can't beat the Xbox One, and an included controller to be able to navigate around the system and play the games ready-made right there and ready for you. The Xbox One X is the most powerful thing you can get for a $500 price tag right now, except... No, actually, yeah. Right now, it is the most powerful thing that you can get right now until the Alienware Alpha upgrades to more modern technology, because what you're finding a lot of those is last generation hardware or generation before.
Yeah,
it is actually that's a little bit under par, the XOX.
The Alpha's suffering a little bit from the same thing you were talking about with the Xbox, I find. They're putting more modern GPUs in there, but they're not touching the CPU. And the CPU, when the first came out, was already kind of old. Unless you get that i7 model. But if you get that i7 model, you're better off just building a desktop.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, you want to just throw the money out of it, but yeah, you even not building. Just if you want something prepackaged, you're better off buying a full size, or well, at least a normal size desktop,
right?
As opposed to the ultra compactness of that system, because that thing's smaller than your current generation of consoles. That thing's tiny.
That thing it's smaller than my Xbox One S. My Xbox One S was pretty small.
It's about the same size of. I think it's just a tad bit bigger than like a Wii or Wii U.
Maybe a Wii U, because my Xbox One Slim was quite a bit larger than the original Wii. The Wii is one of the smallest systems I've ever seen.
I'm talking about the Alienware, like the
Alienware. Yeah, the Alienware is tiny. And I've even seen smaller systems than that.
It's the power for its size, but and surprisingly cheap for an Alienware tag on there. I'll keep continuing to talk about that, but that's me.
Well, I think one good question too is, who is the Xbox One X for? Like who is your target audience with the Xbox One X?
Target audience is the people who have these large screen 4K TVs and they actually want to see games run in that resolution.
What about the PS4 Pro?
PS4 Pro is not native 4K. It upscales only.
The Xbox One X is going to do upscaling and checkerboarding like the PS4 Pro does. Assassin's Creed clip we saw wasn't native 4K.
Does it for everything, whereas the Xbox One X will actually, I thought, was supposed to be able to run a few things in native 4K 30 frames.
Right now, the only game that we know of that's AAA game is Forza. That's the only game I know of up top. There might be more. I don't know. But I know most of the games we saw at EC were upscaled and checkerboarded.
Yeah, it's still not ideal, but still, like, if it can run anything native 4K, even 30 frames, that puts it leagues away from the PS4 Pro. Because the PS4 Pro cannot run any game native at 4K, if any frame.
It did it with The Last of Us Remastered.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like a lot of the PS4 exclusives can. A lot of the PS4 exclusives can.
Native or upscale?
Native.
Oh, wow. They must have optimized those better because it wasn't handling that before. It was upscaling from 2K.
Yeah, from 1440p. I think they did that with Fallout. I know Fallout specifically. I think they did it with Prey too. I don't remember. But yeah, and a lot of them were doing that. Actually, I remember they messed it all up with Prey. So, any other thoughts on the Xbox One X? I don't know who the target audience is for it. It's like, maybe it's for people who like Xbox, like Xbox games, Halo, Gears, Forza, but don't want to build a PC.
One thing you're getting with console gamers, that they want the nice, simple, easy package. But the problem you've had traditionally with consoles is the upgrade cycle on those is very long term. And people start wanting the next best thing in hardware long before those. And it's not to say they're looking at the PC community and seeing those of us who, can actually afford to, upgrade on a more frequent time period or over-purchased, way back when, and our shit's still awesome today, whichever way it works. It's not to say that they're looking at those people being able to play at the higher resolutions. It's just they're looking at these consoles and like, well, shit, the console, it didn't used to be so much of a thing of the console being several years old and feeling outdated. And, most people weren't noticing that. But as a lot of the console community is growing and gathering more intelligent people, expanding, and those of us who are gamers as kids and moving into the future and still playing on console or maybe even move to PC like you and I have, we're starting to feel that the current console generation cycle is not fast enough. Not that people want to pay $500, every few years to replace their, brand new system, but it's still, they're looking at, all right, I want a little bit more powerful system sooner. And also, oddly enough, something else that has influenced the tech upgrade cycle on those, that mindset, smartphones. Which is a combination of the rapid improvement of smartphones when they first started becoming popular in the late 2000s, to the carriers who were offering upgrade discounts every 2 years. So people were getting the smartphones every 2 years, getting newer, more powerful stuff like that. And that kind of mindset kind of sets into people and carries over into other pieces of technology.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Travis, any thoughts on her? You just wait for the games portion.
I'm definitely like, I don't know, like I'm not into consoles, so it's difficult for me to have a perspective on that.
I met you on console.
Previously speaking, yeah, I know you met me on console, but previously speaking, I kind of would have been upset about like having to upgrade every few years, right? And I think a lot of people would have an issue with that, right?
Well, Travis, what was your first console?
My first console was, oh goodness,
I should say as far back as you can remember.
I think it was the Super Nintendo.
Nintendo? Okay.
My first console.
I would think that you'd be used to those upgrade cycles then, gaming long enough.
Well, I actually never got to upgrade quickly.
I see, yeah. Because generally console generations before the 360 and PS3 were always about 5 years.
Yeah.
They strung out that PS3 and 360 way too long.
I didn't really upgrade very often.
Particularly the 360, they strung out really long because that one got an earlier start by a couple of years.
1 year because it came out 05.
Oh, it was just one?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it came out November 05. I remember actually because I moved out of my parents' house the day it came out. I was going to get it when they wanted didn't.
For me, it seems like, like video games in general, like you don't want to alienate lower income people in your game cycles.
I don't think they're doing that necessarily, because with the Xbox One X, it's just a more powerful Xbox One. So it's still going to play. So the original Xbox One, the Xbox Slim, will still play the same games. They'll just look better on the Xbox One X. Right. So I think people will still be. It's kind of like PS4, PS4 Pro. PS4 Pro isn't getting any exclusives. It's still playing the same games. Mm-hmm. They just look prettier, which is appealing to some console players, but I don't think all. We done bored him with too much tech talk.
Oh man, I went to sleep at 4 a.m. So
I'm giving you shit, dude. So
I went to sleep at 1 and woke up at 3.
Savagery. So, any standout games at E3? Any games that stood out to you guys at E3?
Oh goodness, all kinds.
What was your favorite?
But I'm gonna let Xaiphen go first. I'll go last.
Yeah, I don't have I was not wowed that much. Now the trailer of Anthem looked pretty. I don't like the background dealings that are going on around Anthem, but the trailer for Anthem looked pretty awesome.
I'm actually I'm disappointed.
Like the Mass Effect Andromeda stuff?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm actually disappointed because Mort wanted to really go in on them about this today. And he's not here. We were going to go in on Anthem. He had already planned to do that.
But yeah, he's not going to make it in for the podcast at all. I did get a message from him. He's busy today.
Okay.
Me and him already had a little bit of a conversation on this, in that I was like, I was like, I don't really have too big of an issue with it because I'm not invested.
That BioWare did, or EA did on that, but still, the trailer that they put out there for Anthem does look good. Whether or not the game's good, whether or not the sacrifice of Mass Effect will be worth it for it, I can't say. But for E3, that trailer that they put out for us, it looked good. That's about all I got out of E3 that I found impressive.
I'm on par with what Major said last night in Morty's stream. They took the worst of Destiny and the worst of the Division and mashed them together. And that's that's one thing. And it's maybe because I'm bitter, because everybody knows Mass Effect's my favorite IP, my favorite game in IP in general. So for them to see what they did with Andromeda, if they wanted to focus on Anthem, I would have rather them just not put out Andromeda, rather than put it out in the state that it was in, and just focused on Anthem. I would have been fine with that. But to put out Andromeda in the state that it was in, or even waited a few months, because Andromeda plays really well now. No, it's not crashing as much. I don't see a lot of the bugs that we saw at launch. It's playing a lot better now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to live down that stigma. It's not going to live down the it came out buggy. It's like Arkham Knight on PC. Arkham Knight on PC plays fairly well now. It's not perfect, but it's playable now. But a lot of people still only remember that it launched badly. Assassin's Creed Unity, completely fixed. Everybody remembers that launch. Master Chief Collection, again, plays pretty well now. Everyone remembers that launch. Drive Club, same thing.
And that's a sad state of producers' mentality, consumers' mentality, and media in general is everybody looks at the launch, the opening weekend, et cetera, first week sales and all that stuff. And it's sad that has so much an effect on, especially, you look at the artwork of games, has so much continued development at this point in stage in the way games are made. It used to be the cartridge consoles, you put out a game, that was it. It was done. That was all you were getting out of that game. Nowadays, though, it's almost standard for a higher tiered game. I'm not going to specify AAA versus indie, either one of them, to have long-term support well after the game's launched. Mm-hmm. And now you do have opposite effects on people's memory of bad launches versus state of it is now. And, I'm going to use this example, but it's actually a good example of the opposite, Warframe. Warframe didn't even have a bad launch. It was just so much unknown at the time. And now Warframe is on PS4, it's on Xbox, it has millions of players on it all the time. Too bad it doesn't have crossplay, because actually it would be a very good game for that. But that's something that started out as unknown, and people aren't remembering it for the way it launched as being an unknown game. They know of it what it is now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that short-term memory. Totally.
Yeah.
GTA Online was like that too. I remember GTA Online launched as a broken mess for GTA 5, and now it's one of the most. It's probably the reason people on Steam are still playing GTA 5 is GTA Online. I truly believe that. I think most people. Most people have probably already beaten the game. It's only like a 30-hour game. It's been out for 3 years on PC.
True.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's beaten the campaign at this point. That's gonna play it.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it. Sorry, people who are fans of GTA.
You're not a GTA guy?
I tried it. No, I tried it, but whenever a game like that, in a lot of sandbox games, I did this with Prototype or the Incredible Hulk, other sandbox games like that, where you more or less have the, you can kind of start fucking shit up left and right anyway, which way but loose that you want to, but you start drawing that whole. Police or military force, you start drawing that growing threat down on your head on that. But, and I'd have fun with that situation, but it's more or less I get to a point in the game of just actually progressing through the story where I start getting bored with the story. Last GTA I played was GTA 3, not San Andreas or anything like that, original GTA 3.
So you missed out on the better stories.
I get to a point in the story where this just isn't keeping my interest, and I just all right, let's see how much shit I can fuck up until the cops finally are able to kill me. And I did the same thing in the Incredible Hulk sandbox game like that too. It's I'm going to start tossing buildings until they finally drop a nuke on me and see if they can take me out with that. Prototype, which is pretty much the Incredible Hulk, only not Marvel.
It's basically just infamous multiplat, basically.
Yeah, Infamous was electrocution shit. Prototype, you were could wall run up buildings and shit like that, just like you could with the Hulk. Jump really far, run fast, throw cars. But yeah, I get to a point and I got about halfway through the story in the game, and it was interesting for a little while, but sandboxes like that. And now, to me, I think of a sandbox as an open world game. They are one and the same to me. It's just a matter of somebody defining it specifically as open world or sandbox. Usually the only common difference I see between those two is sandbox is this is your immediate world and this is only it. Open world is, well, this is the whole world, but this is the only place you can go right now. It starts out smaller, but it grows bigger, but it still has invisible walls no matter what, just like you get with the sandbox. But yeah, I get to a point in the story where I get bored and I just start fucking around with shit until I can bring whatever, massive military or police force down on my head, and then I just kind of don't bother playing anymore after that. If I try to, I get stuck in the same situation. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, actually, I think the newer GTA's in particular, 4 and 5, actually have pretty decent stories, and they can keep you drawn in.
But a lot of them have too much back and forth action. I do find myself, if I want to play a game with a story, I want it to be, stories are usually linear. Even if the game story has multiple forks, you can go off on the story. It still has a linear progression to it. So if I'm looking to play a game for a story, I want a linear game. I don't want open world. Dishonored had a good story behind it. It was a linear game. I liked it.
Right,
that's my mentality on a good story of a game.
Like Uncharted, that's one of the things I love about Uncharted. It's so large in scale, but it's completely linear. Always an amazing story.
Yeah.
Like, you're always moving forward. And I actually miss games like that, because it seems like these days, all the games are open world. Like, all the big AAA games open world, and it's driving me crazy. Like, I'm so burnt out on that. Is you got a shooter, first or third person, a stealth game, first or third person, and open world sandboxes. And that's basically it right now. Oh, and an occasional racing game.
Yeah. Open world, the thing is I think open world has potential for certain use, and I can't quite place my finger on where it would work. Like MMOs, it kind of works out with.
Yeah, MMOs, it makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of MMOs aren't truly open world, though. They're still cell divided. There's some MMOs that have a little bit more of an open world effect, but still, there's something else missing for like a true one cell open world game that could fit. And it's an online relation, but I can't quite place I can't quite grasp what it is that it's missing, that it needs to work well with. A story is not it. Not a story.
Yeah, I think. Well, sometimes you can do it. The Witcher 3 does it well. Dragon Age Inquisition, I did it okay. I think making the open world made it a little worse. I wish they went back to being more linear. You what?
I haven't made it to those two games yet. I was still playing The Witcher, which is not open world. The Witcher 1, I kind of dropped off on progressing through that game.
Yeah, I hear The Witcher 1 I heard wasn't that great. I hear the better. I haven't played much of 2.
It's okay, but
I hear the way to go is just going straight to 3, and I beat 3.
I keep getting drawn off on other games right now. Like, see, the game type that draws me the most, like, I keep always turning back to, because no matter what, it's hard for me to put down, because I'm the customizer type person. I like to customize and tweak and retweak things. The game that has class building, like Mass Effect Andromeda, Warframe, other games like that. Multiplayer action, usually player versus environment or co-op, whichever way you want to say it. That's the game that always, those kind of games keep drawing me back in class building games. Those I really like. And it's not necessarily RTS or strategies behind it. I like making the equipment and the equipment packages, but I don't necessarily like, I'm not as good for coming up with strategies on how people using those equipment should make best use of them.
That makes sense.
I haven't into the story of Mass Effect Andromeda yet, which is kind of sad. I will get there eventually, but
you're not missing much.
I always have more fun on the class building. It's not to say the story doesn't have class building in itself. It does. But the multiplayer class building and long-term development of those sorts of games, it always draws me. Going back to Warframe, Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect 3.
I'm following you.
Yeah.
Any other games at E3? I was personally looking at Star Wars Battlefront 2. I really like the look of that game.
Oh, yeah, I meant to do a little bit more digging into that one, but I never got around to it, so I can't say for that. I don't know if Travis knows more on that or not.
Which one?
Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
See, I like the original. I like the original. I just wish it had more. That was my problem with it. So now it looks like they figured out everything that people didn't like about the first one, and they're fixing it the second time around.
I definitely got a little bit of like an original Battlefront vibe to, like an old, like the old school Battlefront.
Now, did you play the old school Battlefronts? I own them both on PC, but I've only played them a little bit.
No, I definitely was. I was heavy into Battlefront 2.
Is there an actual campaign in Battlefront 2? I didn't see one.
Oh goodness, I can't even remember.
I wanted to say there was, like, I was trying to find one, but like I said, I basically just played like the tutorials.
I'm pretty sure, Sean, you played Battlefront 2, right? Was there a campaign?
No, I did not.
You didn't? Oh,
I think maybe confusing me with Major.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a campaign, and like.
I think the original one that was just multiplayer. The original. But I think the 2004 one did have. I don't remember.
Right.
Like then I haven't played either of them enough to confirm any of that, but I do own them. At this point, I just sound like a guy that collects games and doesn't play them. Sad.
I know that feel.
Mm-hmm. I'll be like just going around, like I'll go to like half price books or something and just see like, oh, this is the old game that I've been interested in but never played it. Yeah, I'll pick it up and play it during like a time like now. And then the Steam sale hits. So glad to see the Steam sale. And I spend my time playing those games.
So, like, as a player of Destiny, what did you think about Destiny 2?
To me it looks a lot more of the same.
Yeah.
What I'm more excited about, they're fixing the Crucible. I felt like the Crucible in the first one had a lot of problems. I didn't really like the Crucible. I felt like even though they tried to balance things, it was never really balanced well. Like you just knew everybody had the same guns, and if you didn't know like the game, you were always kind of behind. So I mostly just played the PvE content, which I really liked. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I want to do some raids. I want to do more PvE content. I'd like to get into PvP. We'll see how that works. But I'm just waiting to see more. I'm still debating. I want to play the beta. I'm still debating if I'm gonna get it on console or PC because I don't trust that the PC community will stay with Destiny long. That's something that worries me, especially if it has a season pass.
There's one game. What was that? Oh, Lawbreakers. Which I'm not sure if that's the same game I'm thinking of. I saw a pending alpha for it a long time ago, but I'm not sure if it's the same. I'm trying to see if I can find more information on it because
it's an arena shooter. I played one of the alphas.
Arena
like a year
shooter,
ago.
kind of like a little bit physics defying, flying through the air sort of thing.
Yes, that's Lawbreakers.
Yeah, like I was looking at. Yeah, I didn't actually get to see the E3 demo on it. I did see some pre-release stuff on it like more than a year ago. It looked to be potentially interesting, and then I read somebody's review on the control system of it was ridiculous. I don't know if it's been improved upon since then or not.
Probably.
I have not
I
unfortunately kept up with it. Yeah. Well, somebody was describing it as more or less like slingshotting yourself through the air type of deal, trying to deal with the zero-G control effect.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
It was too linear motion for a shooter.
I could see that. Like I said, I didn't personally. I didn't give it. I played it for about 30-40 minutes. Decided I didn't like it and put it down. And that was a year ago during one of the closed alphas. And they keep inviting me back. I just don't play. It's like Quake Champions. I played Quake Champions when they had one of their open beta or closed betas. Like a month or two ago. I played it for about an hour, didn't like it, put it down. I know really quick if I'm gonna like a game or not. Most of the time. I think the one exception for me actually was the original Mass Effect, where I didn't really care for it in the beginning. Once you became a Spectre and the game opened up, that's when I fell in love. But for the most part, usually with most games, I know in the first hour and a half, sometimes 45 minutes, if it's a multiplayer game, I like this game or I don't. I know it really quick. So yeah, Lawbreakers, didn't like it. Other games that I saw there, I loved Sony's conference, even though it was a lot of same games that we had already seen before. I'm still ready to play some of those games. The Uncharted, was it Legacy Collect? Not Lost Legacy. Yeah, Lost Legacy. I'm ready to play that. There was another one that I can't think of right now. I want to see more COD World War II. I'm on the fence about that. Because yeah, it's COD, which I like because I think Battlefield 1 is just too open for my liking. I don't like the maps. I like close quarters combat. So for me, Battlefield 1, while I love Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 was okay, Hardline was good, I liked Hardline. I didn't like Battlefield 1 all that much. So I'm hoping that COD World War II will actually give me more of what I'm looking for, which is more just close quarters combat.
The Dishonored 2 extension might be interesting too, just because I liked Dishonored and 2. I will probably like the Dishonored 2 extension to it. Definitely the Outsider. I'll see. I may or may not get in on that. Linear stealth action games. I've always been pretty even prying myself away from class builders like Andromeda or Warframe. More Gift of Me Dishonored 2. I jumped into that one, knocked it out in like a week or 2 weeks or whatever.
Are you jumping on that? Are you jumping on the ESO with us?
ESO?
Yeah. Elder Scrolls Online?
Elder Scrolls. No, probably not. I try to get into MMOs, but I just get burned out on them, and then I don't end up touching
Warframe.
Ever. Well, Warframe is not really an MMO, or MMORPG. MMORPGs, where I have this issue with. Because, I can name, let's see. I never did get into the WoW. I didn't get into WoW. I never started up on that. But SOTOR, it's been months since I played it. I played it for a few months straight, and then I haven't touched it since. I keep meaning to. Star Trek Online is another one. There was another one I was getting into before that. Rifts, and also there's another one alongside of Rifts that I was trying to do too. Started on a long time ago. I can't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, so I've got 4 MMORPGs that I started on, played for a few months maybe, and then just dropped them. Straight out dropped. Not like, I'm going to take a break from this and come back to it. And I think I'm going to try and start them up again, and I just never get back into it. The only one that I actually got back into for a little while, just because I like the world, is Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek Online, I picked that back up a couple of times, played it for a week or so, and then stopped it again. But
what generation of Star Trek is that based on?
A next generation-ish. It continues
So is it like between Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, like in the middle between there?
No. I would say it actually continues off of Deep Space Nine. Voyager's kind of its own little offshoot there. It incorporates aspects of Voyager, post-Voyager coming home, but it's a little bit more focused on a shoot past Deep Space Nine, because you went through the Deep Space Nine series, right?
No, I didn't. I couldn't get into Deep Space Nine. I got into what's the one with I can't think of her name. The one where they got lost in the galaxy, the Delta Quadrant, and they were trying to get home. That's the one I started watching. Yeah, that was Voyager Enterprise. Voyager,
had its own good aspects.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is like, you look at Star Trek traditionally, you've had original series, they're on a 5-year mission, explore random shit. Next Generation, 5-year mission, explore random shit. And then Deep Space Nine, we're on a space station. We're not really exploring random shit. We're just on a space station and dealing with space station life.
Right, and that's what kind of bored me about it.
It picked up in later, I want to say about season 3. It kicked up a notch pretty heavily because they discovered more or less the ruling cast of the quadrant that they had access to through that wormhole. And they declared war. So they called themselves the Dominion. So there's this whole war with the Dominion, which they ended up settling out that war, finishing it off, getting rid of them. And this kind of continues on with the fallout, because Federation and Klingons and Romulans all sided together to fight against this Dominion. All these bad guys that never got along before, not bad guys, but all these big galactic powers that never got along before, all of a sudden teaming up because there's this bigger, badder foe. Now, the Klingons got so excited about the fighting after the Dominion War, they wanted to keep fighting, and eventually it broke down Federation versus Klingon, and that's where Star Trek Online is kind of delving into. Federation and Klingon are no longer getting along. You go into Klingon space, you start getting attacked by Klingon. Actually, I don't think you can even directly go into Klingon space.
Klingons just remind me of Krogans.
Yeah, Romulans, their world is all fucked up because it got exploded. Yeah, I butchered that word properly. But yeah, it blew up. So Romulans are kind of like they're kind of refugee type people. You know, they kind of rebuilt their shit a little bit, but they were pretty well siding with whoever's not going to take advantage of them being fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
And they got tie-ins on the Star Trek reboot series, original series episodes, Next Generation episodes. They like to tie into all sorts of different things. There's multiple different chapter story arcs that you can go through. Your early on progression through the game, your level progression is actually pretty damn fast. Mort said it was a little bit too fast, and in some cases I agree. Some of the more recent content that they added onto there is a lot slower to progress through, because I found out a lot of level restriction hangups that I was not reaching fast enough to try and progress through the story, and that's where I kind of petered out of it and haven't returned. It's been about 8 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I've been interested in it, but right now ESO is feeding my MMO fix. Travis, you playing any MMOs, bro?
Yeah. No. My friend's trying to get me into WoW, but I'm not about it.
I tried WoW. Actually, I bought WoW on discount at Christmas time last year. Played it for like 2 weeks. Like, at first, I was having a blast, like the first night or two. And then it's like, man, I don't like this combat system. And that's actually what bugs me about a lot of MMOs. Like, Star Wars, remember we were all playing Star Wars? I don't like the control scheme on Star Wars at all. I really wish I could have played it with the controller.
It's a bit more complicated. I dealt with Star Trek a lot better than Star Wars. Star Wars has a lot more elaborate combat system in there versus Star Trek.
Is it? Well, my problem with Star Wars wasn't even the amount of buttons. I don't like playing like third-person combat games like that without the shooting, because I was using a lightsaber with a mouse.
Yeah,
like that to me, like doing like melee combat with the mouse does not feel good to me. I do not like that kind of combat, and that's what I was doing. That's what my character build was in the Star Wars.
I went a mercenary, some kind of shooter type person, so I didn't actually get into the lightsaber combat. But playing with a controller may not have been as bad for me. But that's the thing is, like, you get into any kind of sword like combat, whether it's lightsabers, classical swords, and you're getting something that seems like it's more actionable, and you've got a controller, and you've got these motion optional controls on there. You feel like you should move something on that controller, and it should be an active representative swing on that lightsaber. You swipe right on your touchpad, it swings your lightsaber right, so on and so forth. That's my feeling on that sort of thing. So I'm a little bit more akin to shooters. Plus, I like the sci-fi aspect, which Star Wars, fits into the sci-fi aspect, as opposed to, say, WoW. Yeah, fantasy environment is fun and all that, and I do enjoy it sometimes, but you come into subject matter that's going to hold my interest more, sci-fi, definitely.
Yeah, same here. Like I said, the main thing I liked about ESO is I did want to get like an MMORPG, and I wanted a fantasy game. But I had to find one with the right control scheme, and I think ESO is going to fit that need for me. Basically, I can play it with a controller.
Star Trek's not something to overlook. It does have some benefits behind it, but the biggest thing I'm going to knock on Star Trek is the monetization behind it. They promote in-game gambling a little bit too heavily. They've got these lock boxes that you just pick up left and fucking right, but you have to buy the keys to unlock them, and you get a random chance of whatever's drawn inside. And until you mess around with the control, dig through the controls enough to disable this, as soon as you get into the game, you're constantly seeing this things pop up on the screen. So and so, unlock this from a lockbox. So and so, and you will see it constantly until you finally figure out how to disable it. It's so fucking annoying, and it's more or less psychological tricks to try and trigger any latent gambling addictions people might have. Like, I might be able to win this.
It just makes me think that game is pay to win.
In a gas station, you see a couple of people that are scratch-off gamblers, and you see one person that they may or may not buy the ticket, but they've got that itch inside them. All it takes is that trigger of the person in front of them, like, oh, I'm going to buy this ticket, and then now all of a sudden they feel the need to buy the next one in that row because that's the type of person they are. And they people who market this game, they understand that psychology, and they try and play off of it. And I don't like that. I think that's dirty. It's very underhanded tactics in there. The gameplay itself is okay. The engine's okay. The networking's okay. From what I understand about a lot of reviews, it used to be better before not Ark. Is it Ark? I can't remember the
Ark
company
Survival.
Name. It was originally designed by Cryptic, and then they sold out to a Chinese company that does
A Perfect World.
Perfect World. That's it. Yep. Don't talk too much about him. Apparently, they'll try and sue us.
Travis, you were gonna give us some thoughts.
On games, yeah, man. I got like all kinds of games that I'm looking forward to this E3, man.
Let's talk about it.
Seems like you guys only have one or two.
Oh, I have quite a few more. I'm looking forward to most of the ones I saw at the Sony conference. The Metro game I thought looked amazing.
Yeah, like I guess I got like a list if you want to start off on talking about them. So like,
go ahead. I want you to get your thoughts in there because we're gonna go to final thoughts probably after that.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna like wrap up?
I want to hear your games.
Okay, so I'm definitely looking forward to Shadow of Colossus remake.
Yes.
I love the original.
And yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, man. Like, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
God of War looks beautiful.
Dauntless, I'm not really like huge on. It looks cheap, and I feel like it's gonna flop. You guys saw that. I'm a huge fan of that kind of gameplay, which is the Monster Hunter gameplay, which this E3 kind of gave me an awesome. You guys saw the Monster Hunter World reveal. Like, I didn't think that was ever gonna happen. I didn't think they were gonna bring it back on console, but like, legit, it's good.
I'm all excited.
And it's gonna be on PC too. Like, Monster Hunter on PC, man. Like,
so is that what's gonna get you to build your rig?
Either that or Anthem, if Anthem's any good. But yeah, Monster Hunter World is gonna be real good. That's actually, it makes me really disappointed that Sony's not into crossplay, because Monster Hunter is one of those games that crossplay would be amazing on.
There's a lot of games that would be amazing with crossplay that I wish they would add crossplay to, like Andromeda.
I'm sure you guys played the Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Did you guys play it?
I played it.
Yeah.
Dropped out of Assassin's Creed halfway through the second game.
Did you see the Skull and Bones thing?
I've seen. No, I missed out on that. I
can't think of what that is.
Assassin's Creed, and I zoned out on that.
Ubisoft is making like a standalone pirate game, like in the theme of, you know, like everybody said like Black Flag was a better pirate game than Assassin's Creed game, so kind of excited about that.
Like they listened.
Shadows of Mordor, or Shadow.
Oh yeah,
Shadow
definitely.
Of Mordor. Yeah, that looked real good. I was nerding out about that trailer for about a day. Some indie games. The Last Night looks really good. Some like cyberpunk, you know, Shadowrun-esque type deal. Nice and indie and aesthetic. Any of you guys play? What's the game I just totally forgot about the game I was going to talk about.
Yeah, sure. I played that game.
Advance Wars. You guys play Advance Wars?
Sounds familiar. I want to say no,
Game
though.
Boy and DS. It's like the
no.
like the combat thing. Oh man.
Last game I played on Game Boy Advance was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. My Game Boy has been sitting in the box for the past decade.
Right. So it's like a turn-based like battle game. You move, you know, units around, and it's kind of like a Fire Emblem type deal.
Is it like more or less like an RTS type game, or?
Yeah, it's like a small like RTS type. Not RTS, but it's turn-based, right? It's turn-based strategy.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And Travis, I don't want to cut you short. My headset's actually about to die out.
Is that why? Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It just beeped on me while we were talking about this last game, so I want to move into final thoughts before I lose you guys.
All right then.
All right.
All right.
So Travis, go ahead.
It's gonna be a good year, as Donkey said. It's the good year. I think so.
Good year for games. Good year for games. Xaiphen?
For me, as I get older and games come and go, I start becoming more and more cynical. I see certain trailers that excite me a little bit, but once the game, I mean, that's not the case this time.
All right, and my final thoughts. Sony, get your shit together. At least if you're going to lie to us about crossplay, come up with a better lie, because I don't believe you. Xbox One X, be critical, be cynical, wait and see. Don't just say, don't believe everything that these corporations will tell you, because they just want your money at the end of the day. That's their end goal. And I'm ready for these games. I'm waiting for reviews. Still no pre-orders. I've done really good this year. I've only pre-ordered one game, and that was Mass Effect Andromeda. I admit I pre-ordered it, but I haven't pre-ordered anything else. So my New Year's resolution was no.
They gave you a discount on that pre-order, didn't they?
Yeah, cause I did it with Origin Access. So and it was out of my tax return too. So I said screw it. Who cares? It's tax money.
You started playing it before the order anyway, so it's not a true pre-order in a traditional sense.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I did demo it first, and I was enjoying it. So there's that as well. Yeah, but other than that, thank you for joining us for the Pixel Crashers podcast, June 24th. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, leave a like, share with a friend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully, Mortiel will be with us next time. And I can't find my clicker. I can't find my clicker to turn this off.
It's still going. No.